Well, good morning. You know that sound by now. It's time for Cuyahoga's Most Wanted. Each week, we feature 3 fugitives who are out there on the run facing serious charges when they need to be in a courtroom. These are people making us all a little less safe, including your own street and your own family. We're going to welcome in, as we do every week, Detective Red Dyer from the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department. Detective, how are you today?
Great, Dan. Enjoying this little heat wave we're getting.
After the past couple of weeks, yeah, I think we can call this a heat wave. Red, let's explain to our people, as we do every week, there's a reason that Channel 19 partners with Crime Stoppers of Cuyahoga County and the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department. Why is that?
Well, Dan, there's a very important reason. As we recognize the value in our community, the people who want to clean up their streets, who want to make their neighborhoods safer, and who want to get justice for these victims, all while opening up the potential for a possible reward, which we'll get into a little later.
Let's not waste any time. Let's see if we can get some fugitives behind bars and into a courtroom. Let's get to our first case of Kane Anderson. What do we know?
Well, Dan, what we know about Mr. Anderson is that in September of 2023, he pled guilty to burglary and robbery. According to reports in that case, he forced entry into the victim's home with an accomplice and proceeded to physically restrain the victim in a bedroom while the accomplice ransacked the house. We're talking a home invasion situation, very dangerous and scary situation that nobody would wish on anyone. He violated the conditions of his probation, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. He should be fairly easy to spot because he can be identified by his facial tattoos. He has a bullseye on his forehead, as well as 223 across his eyebrow and a knife on his neck. He's approximately 5'6" and 155 pounds, and was last known to be staying in the 3900 block of East 32nd Street in the city of Cleveland.
People have all kinds of reasons for getting tattoos, why you would want a red bullseye right between your eyes. Well, I'm not sure why you would want that as a tattoo. Let's get to our next case. Ziere Shields. This is a pretty serious case. Anytime someone is firing a gun into multiple people, this is an attempted murder case. And why would we want this person on our street? Let's get to the case of Ziere Shields.
Well, Dan, in April of 2024, Mr. Shields actually pled guilty to attempted improperly handling firearms in a motor vehicle and was sentenced to probation in that case. However, in January of this year, a warrant was issued for his arrest after he failed to appear for an arraignment in an attempted murder and felonious assault case, where indictments state that he used a firearm in an attempt to murder multiple victims. He is prohibited from possessing a firearm due to his criminal history. I wanted to point out that he should be considered armed and extremely dangerous, Dan. We need this individual off the streets and in front of a judge as soon as possible. He's approximately 5'5" and 130 pounds and was last known to be staying in the 3200 block of West 61st Street in the city of Cleveland.
3 attempted murder charges for that one case alone. We don't feature a lot of women here on Cuyahoga's Most Wanted, but we are equal opportunity. And when you have someone out there committing serious crimes, you're going to be featured. And when you're on the run, you're going to end up here on Cuyahoga's Most Wanted. Let's get to the case of Tameka Gill. What do we know?
Well, Dan, what we know is that, as we discussed previously on Crime Stoppers, we've seen multiple different weapons used in these types of cases. This one specifically has a very unique one. Ms. Gill actually has 2 warrants, or 2 cases with the Sheriff's Department. In June of 2023, she attacked the victim by smashing a glass vase into their face, resulting in swelling to the victim's face and orbital area. In September of 2023, she forced entry into the victim's residence, threw property out of a window, and then left with the stolen property. She's approximately 5'1" and 148 pounds and was last known to be staying in the 900 block of Grayton Road in the city of Cleveland.
We'll just have to chalk that up as another weapon we've seen used. Obviously, the standards, guns, knives, but we've seen baseball bats, frying pans, chairs, bottles, just about everything you can imagine we have featured right here on Cuyahoga's Most Wanted. Detective, people get really apprehensive. If these are dangerous people on the street, I don't want them to know I'm the person who called Crime Stoppers. So we need to make sure that these people are protected. How does Crime Stoppers do that?
Well, Dan, as we discuss every week, we don't take down your name, we don't have caller ID, we don't record the phone calls or take down any of your personal identifying information. When you contact us, you're provided with an anonymous tip number, and that'll be used as your reference number, so your information is never exchanged with us.
That's an incredible tool that's very powerful to keep people protected. 216-252-7463. And it's those calls, just one simple call that could be shared with the very experienced warrant units, first responders, detectives all over Northeast Ohio. Think about how quickly your tip could make us all just a little bit safer. And if your tip does result in arrest, Detective, we're talking of up to a $5,000 reward. What do you like people to remember?
That crime doesn't pay, but Crime Stoppers does.
Crime Stoppers does pay, and the men and women of law enforcement all around Northeast Ohio are very talented in bringing these individuals in. Detective, that's another week. Let's go out and get them. Thanks for your help.
Been a pleasure.
All right, take care. It's going to wrap it up for Cuyahoga's Most Wanted. One more time for that phone number, 216-252-7463. Any tip that leads to an arrest could be worth up to $5,000 reward from Crime Stoppers of Cuyahoga County. If we have any other breaking news, it's going to be right here on our digital platforms. Otherwise, we'll see you in our 11 o'clock news on CW43 and our noon news on Channel 19. I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News. Have a great day.
19 News is everywhere. Download our CTV apps and follow us on social media at Cleveland 19 News.
All righty, Patricia Redd, thank you so much. We'll see you next